Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Youngstown's Talk Channel, Joe and Kelin.
Ooh, my
Kelin,
hair's
you get
sticking
first
out.
crack as normal. What do you got?
Oh, let's see. Happy Groundhog Day. You buy into that at all? I'm sure you do.
Totally.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I have my own weatherometer in my backyard, which is groundhog, and I use that to predict
Weatherometer?
Weatherometer, yeah.
Weatherometer.
So stupid. Human beings are so freaking stupid.
Oh,
What else?
Right.
What else?
Did you watch the Grammys last night?
I saw clips.
Yeah.
Billie Eyelash totally made an
Eyelash.
effing fool of themselves. I think that's what it is. It's meant to make the rest of us feel good that we're not so freaking stupid, because even people who achieve high orders in this world can be so dumb, so freaking stupid. So what was the standouts on your end?
Well, I started watching it, and then obviously it started to get political, and I tried to turn it off because I'm like, I don't want to hear anything political. I just want to hear about music and see interesting fashion and have an easygoing night. So the moment there was any political digs, I tried to turn it off. Well, my daughter wanted to watch it because she's younger, and I just, like, first and foremost, absolute first impression is, God, I feel old. I feel so old. I didn't know who so many of the artists were. Yeah, Perry says it's becoming a political, what a joke. Trevor Noah's a disaster. And I think because I saw a lot, maybe I saw the beginning where they were talking a lot about new artists, like brand new upcoming artists. So maybe that's why I was like, who? I don't know who these people are. God, I'm old. And then the second thing that made me feel so old was actually the fashion, which is kind of why I watch it, to see, like, ooh, hair and makeup and clothes and everybody looking all pretty. And then I see, like, they're just naked. They're just naked.
The Britney Spears effect in full effect.
Yeah, and I'm like, God, I'm old. Like, I've become now, like, instead of the young girl watching and being like, oh my gosh, it's art and entertainment. Now I'm like, do we have to see your boobs in order to like your songs? Like, I'm so old. That's what I got from it last night.
This has been my unwavering and unchanging opinion of it.
Yeah.
You got really, really stupid people that were blessed in a certain category of talent, and they spend their entire lives to be relevant in areas outside. They don't want to be pigeonholed and just being able to sing. They want to have opinions, and they want to have these philosophical viewpoints that are all respected for. And they want to be able to, like, no one's paying attention to me, so let's show my nipples on TV. That'll make people listen to me. So really, if you watch the Grammys, you are stupid. Point blank. End of story. It's for dumb people. Smart people don't watch the Grammys. That's it.
Is there any artist you think that was there that you actually do like, and you were like, please don't say
all right,
anything?
So listen, when I'm working and I turn on music while I'm working, it is songs, right? It's not interviews with the artist. It's not showing what they do in their daily lives. It's their music, and it plays all of the songs that I love, right? So when you're watching the Grammys, how much of it is the music you love, and how much of it is sheer stupidity? Is it 90-10? Is it 75-25? It is almost all the stupidest parts of artists. We don't like you other than what comes out of your face hole or the instrument that you play, period. Shut the F up.
Do you think the Grammys would have such attention if everybody was covered and dressed moderately and got up there and said, thank you to my supporters and thank you to my team and my blah, 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 and I appreciate this honor. Thank you. And they just got off, and the performances were kind of lower. Like, if it were in no way controversial, would they get more or less viewers, do you think?
The way they get less. Yeah, it would be more of a honoring their craft and less about the spectacle of their being. And, that's why stupid people watch it, is the spectacle of being. They might as well go out there and bring two people who don't get along and just have them wrestle on stage. And it would be get the same kind of viewership, because the primitive instincts wants to see that. even though we're there for a completely different reason, and we get none of the reason why we're actually there. You get all of the primitive responses. So it's a spectacle for dumb people.
Yeah, I was so relieved when I saw the girl who won Best New Artist. I don't know her well. I have heard the song she performed a few times. It is a pretty catchy song. I was so relieved when she won because before they gave the Grammy to Best New Artist, what they did is they had a brief performance of all the people in the category. And like Alex Warren, really like him. Seems like a really down-to-earth, nice guy and extremely talented. Then you get into like the pop girls. And it's very much like what you would expect. There's dancing, there's shaking your booties, there's, sexy outfits, and then there's a performance element to it. And I can appreciate what they're doing there. But the girl who won was just a beautiful, talented. She just went and sang her song, and there were no like theatrics, no booty shaking, no choreography, no whatever. And she won. And I'm like, thank God we actually just vote on the talent. And she was a very, very good singer and is good at what she does. And when she went up there, politics. And I'm just like, I can't.
Yeah. Well, again, that's why and a person that loves music, if you could take a music award show and turn me against it, then you're doing everything wrong. Because I want to like it.
Yeah.
Right? I want the artists to be writing music and performing music and playing their instruments. You get a person that it's more about the presence that they have and what they're wearing and the lip syncing they're doing, and they didn't even write the song. They're just a package deal of primitive instincts, and I'm not all about that.
Yeah, I mean, I was even like, you could tell a lot of the performances they were singing live, and I was like, again, yay! Like we've got live singers; they're not lip syncing. We're seeing real talent here. This is going well. And then, it was like every few minutes or every time I saw something that I liked or appreciated, here comes another political jab, and I'm just like, can't we just have an evening of entertainment? This is the entertainment industry, is it not? And I would just I'd go and I put reruns on again of the same show I watch all the time because I'm like,
that was
I just want to relax.
That was brilliant. You don't need any of that. These celebrities think that because you're paying attention to them, that they're going to vomit their opinions. And we don't think you're smart in that way, dudes. Just hang it up, stay in your effing lane, sing, right? Play your instrument. Shut the F up, period.
Now, I'm trying to be devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Because, Jelly Roll won 3 Grammys. Yeah. On his third, he got up there and he brought a Bible with him. And he talked about Jesus. And Jesus isn't for any political party. He's for everybody. And he saved me and he yada, yada, yada. And I liked Jelly Roll. And I liked that it was a positive message. But if I've got to be devil's advocate, what would you say? Hey, don't do politics, don't do religion, don't do whatever. Or are you okay if someone uses the stage to talk about something that is a religious?
Play your instrument, period.
So you wouldn't even like his speech?
If I want to go to church, I'll go to church. Now, I will go to the authority on someone who like to preach to me. Yeah. Stay out of everything except for why we buy the tickets and why we listen to the music. Stick to that. You're not brilliant in any other department. Stop the ego of thinking that we want to hear your apportionment of any other philosophy outside of play your instrument, sing your song, and shut the F up, period. Abundantly clear?
Abundantly clear. Brian says Grammy, they're just a political anti-American stage award show. Super Bowl halftime is going to be the same. Perry says, is there really an award show that isn't political anymore?
No. The scam is that if you can get someone to pay attention to you, they're not going to be able to push down their ambition to like vomit at you, whatever they're feeling. Because Billie Eilish was, and I mispronounced it on purpose because totally disrespectful, because it was the you can't be illegal on stolen land routine. Like, okay, fine, Billie. Fine. My kid likes some of your songs.
Mine too.
I don't like any of them. They're your freaking song. You're an idiot when it comes to politics. You're an idiot when it comes to a philosophy. And if you want to have a debate on whether or not the savages that were the Indians, right, were the victims of colonialization, fine. But it's not going to be because you're on stage. I want to say some things to you when you say a statement like that. But if it's unidirectional, where all you're going to do is vomit at something that I want to argue with really bad, and I don't have the chance to push back against your stupidity, not the proper channel. Not.
Yeah, I felt like pushing back against the stupidity for me was like, well, I want to turn it off. I don't want to give them views.
100%.
Like I want the viewership to go down. And when they say, why is our viewership going down? Maybe they'll think, oh, maybe everybody has political fatigue and fighting fatigue, and they just want entertainers to make them feel good again and to give them a reprieve from all that.
The tribes want to hear Jelly Roll talk about the Bible, and they want to hear Billie Eilish talk about the Indians who are the victims. And again,
the shock value, like somebody who looked beautiful on the red carpet and was covered is not going to get any attention,
right?
Because this artist has their boobs out,
right.
Or like somebody who went up on stage and made a very strong political statement is going to get the attention, and somebody who went up there and just said, thank you for this award, I'm honored, I appreciate it, blah, 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 nobody will hear about. And like we talked about this before, is the only bad publicity is no publicity. And we're talking about them and we're giving them attention, them being even the Grammys, the award show themselves. And don't you think that's kind of what they're hoping for?
Well, that is populism. And that is especially the Democrats and liberals, they're pushing and railing against populism, thinking that it's a danger to our society, appealing to, like when somebody does a speech that's profound and whatever, and it's always cliched in like movies, poppy type of movies.
Yeah.
And then they'll say the philosophical thing, and then the audience will be like kind of weirded out about it. They'll be like, go dogs, right? That's the populist primitive. And everybody gets super excited when they say the thing that the tribe wants them to say, even though when you analyze it after the fact, the smart thing was like, didn't resonate. But the dumb thing was like, made me cheer and get off my seat and get excited. We are catering to the dumb, period. And yeah,
people want to hear like buzzwords now. There are certain buzzwords and certain phrases that put you on one side or the other.
Yeah.
And that's what they want to hear, and that's what they're listening
That'll
for.
Make them stand up and cheer.
Yeah, they're not listening to understand.
But if your paycheck depends on being popular amongst the dumb people, then saying dumb things resonates with them, makes them cheer. You make more money. So you can't begrudge dumb people from attracting the worship from other dumb people. And but you can't then say that the Grammys or the Emmys or any of those award shows are anything other than a populist, horror session, right? That caters to all of the dumb people in your audience. That's it.
Yeah. RA says, I agree with him. They are entertainers. Shut the F up. Do your job. Entertain.
Beautiful. Well
yeah.
said.
Rachel says, but yet women are the victims when half your body's on display.
Yeah, but that's no shocker. The women and that entire femininity movement both wants to shelve being judged by characteristics and being judged, but also amplify those characteristics and take all the benefits. So the bar scene where it's free drinks for ladies, right? So I want to take advantage of all the benefits of getting the free drinks. But then what if you judge me as a lady in any other respects? And so that's what it is, using all the things you can get away with by being outraged by everything that's connected to those, but isn't a benefit from. So it's a sour place, and it always brings out the cynic in me when I judge our complete civilization by how primitive we actually are.
Carter says Justin Bieber singing in his underwear was my last straw. I didn't see that.
So you didn't hang out long enough. If you could, I
couldn't tolerate it long enough.
Yeah.
Plus, I watched till about 9:00, and then that's my bedtime.
What was Justin Bieber? Did he do the Saturday Night Live skit where he came out and he was naked except for he had an elephant on his dong?
I don't know what that was.
maybe that's just a fever dream of mine. But
you're talking about a real like SNL
yeah,
skit
I
this
think
happened?
somebody had a puppet, like an elephant.
Was it
trunk.
Will Ferrell?
I don't know. I swear it was Justin Bieber.
I don't know. We're gonna have to Google that one.
I will. I'll look
Why do
that
I
up.
think it was Will Ferrell?
And why am I fascinated with Justin Bieber's elephant trunk dong puppet? I don't know. But I'll look that up.
Lori says, I used to live for the Grammys. Now don't watch it. Won't watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like, and that's why I couldn't tell, like, am I just getting too old? And I'm just like the old person that's like back in my day and, you know, or is it just, it's like the more attention something gets, the more they have to amp it up. You know, like back in my day, Britney Spears was scantily clad and now showing your midriff is nothing. And so you got to like ramp it up and things got to be sexier and you got to be more naked and you got to be more political and you got to say something with more shock value. And I mean, you see that in their performances too. It's like, oh my gosh, that's just you barely don't have to censor that, you know?
So we're going to be able to go to AI and go to Sono, and we're going to be able to say, here's the music, what I want it to be about, what I want it to sound like, bypass all of these artists who think they're way smarter than they actually are, and just give me the music that allows me to do my work and clean the house and do my chores and not have to listen to someone who is entitled and thinks that they're smarter than they actually are.
Because does it then taint their music for you? Like, is there some
Bruce Springsteen writes a song about Minneapolis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Springsteen, I think he's a very talented artist. I like his music. It's in a lot of my playlists. But do any of his the previous work, right? Do I take it off my playlist because of Bruce? No, I'm just not adding the new iteration of Robert De Niro's movies or Bruce Springsteen, because they're not going to be able to help themselves. They're going to be like, I'll be in this movie as long as after I'm the villain where I'm shooting people with my machine gun, that I could say that Trump is an idiot, right?
Yeah. What about though, like back in the day of like what we would consider now to be classic rock, or, you know, if there were songs that were sort of centered around wars and stuff through the 60s.
They had the ability in songs and music or songs and movies to be sort of like on the DL. If they had a message, it was subversive. It's hidden down below, like not overt, not in your face,
on the nose.
You had to dig into it to get their messaging. Now they can't handle it. They're like, they're not getting my message. I got to be a little bit more overt about it. And so they got to put it right in your face. They got to come out and say it, which ruins movies for me. If you've got to like expose the answer to the riddle while you're saying the riddle, it's not a riddle at all. And so like I watched a couple of movies as I watched as a kid, and there were undertones that I did not realize at the time were undertones. And that's the effing point.
You know what I binged this weekend? Have you heard of the show The Beast in Me with Claire Danes? And
you know what? No, I'm mad at my wife because of that.
Because of the show?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because I said, hey, I heard that the show is getting a lot of attention. I heard it's really good.
It's up for a lot of awards.
And she said, I already watched it. And I was like, F you, F Claire Danes. I don't even want to watch it now. It's a
mini series. It's only 8 episodes.
But she watched it without me. That's a mortal sin when it comes to marriage.
did too. I told my husband time and time again, I said, this show's supposed to be really good. I want to watch it. And we never did. So I pulled it up and I watched it Saturday and Sunday. But there is a scene in the movie. This isn't a spoiler by any means if you still want to watch it. In the movie, there's 2 politicians basically fighting over something. And the one politician has a rally and the other side hires somebody to come in.
Don't spoil this for me.
This isn't a major part of the show.
I might watch it, and now you're going to ruin it for me. What were you going to say? Go ahead. Fine. Ruin it for me.
They hire someone to put on the t-shirt and wear the merch and go to this rally like they are part of that side. And they hire a police officer. And these 2 are in cahoots to cause a fight and a riot and at this rally and make it look like political unrest. And I was like, oh, is that
similar to reality?
Do? Yeah, I was like, is that what's happening in our world?
That I think is the point of art, is not necessarily to take an activist angle, but to take things that normal people might not even think about and put them in theater, right? That puts you at odds with what your beliefs and thoughts are things. And I think artists kind of gave way at that, and they don't push on status quo because they're totally bought into it. That's why I gave up on a lot of the more, like, when we were growing up, it was Rage Against the Machine, right? I believed in pushing up against the status quo. But what happens when you get comfortable and you kind of like the status quo? Would Rage Against the Machine really push up against people that they, agreed with, and for the sake of just pushing again? Or the only reason you push up against the machine is when you disagree with that? That's the real difference in philosophy. I like raging against the machine, and I don't think anybody gets a free pass, and I think everybody should be able to explain themselves for the 9,000th time. And even when you believe in them, I think pushing against them to see if they're still legit and still honest is important to culture. And that was the messaging. But now I see Rage Against the Machine, and they're these, they're different people now, right? They're captured people now. So they're not raging against the machine. They are the freaking machine.
Yeah, you're just raging against the opposite side.
Exactly. And it just so happened that they were raging against the thing they disbelieved in. It wasn't about raging against the machine. It's becoming an apparatus of politics. But it felt a lot like you were raging against the entire machine.
Yeah, I got in a long conversation with somebody one time about the whole ICE thing and all that. And my point to them was, if you actually stop and talk to people, you'll find you're probably very similar in your beliefs, and you're probably not as opposite as you think. Just let me tell you what I think, you tell me what you think, and watch how we find some middle ground. And they'll say, but you can't just say that. You need to say this, this, this. And I'm like, no, I don't need to say something, because that's just against the other side. When I'm trying to show you how both sides can have similarities, that's just a talking point to prove you're against one and for another.
Well, it's a religion. And so Christianity was cast out, and they created a new religion in politics. So when you basically push up against the orthodoxy of that religion, you're a heretic, and that's why you're being pushed up against. It's no different. Like, human beings have been doing this forever. They just establish religions in different freaking departments. It's annoying when you point that out to them. Like, if you went up to a Christian and said, Jesus never said this thing, how much are they going to want to say that they know better than you and you're just freaking wrong? Everything in their being, because it pushes against the belief system that if they're wrong, then a lot of things fall apart because they're wrong. Same thing with the, Indians were the heroes, and environmentalism is, whatever, and vaccines or this. Like, these are all religions that are just taken about by people who thirst for religion, but won't do Christianity because it's very unpopular. So I'm just going to put my religious, motivations into something that's not Christianity.
Yeah. In fact, this person, they didn't like that I was so middle ground. And they said, I realize that you work in media, so you have to just be middle ground. And I was like, first of all, and it was based on what they saw on the show. I was like, I am allowed to be whatever I want to be here. Like, this isn't FCC, governed. And actually, we encourage opinions. We encourage to say how you feel. You don't have to watch your P's and Q's here. The reason I am middle ground is because I can see that most situations are more complicated than most people know. I can understand what this side thinks, and I can understand why this side would think what they think. And I could see why they would be up in arms, and I can see why they would be up in arms. And it's complicated. It's not black and white. I think if you don't understand why there is a middle ground, and you don't understand your opposing viewer's view, then you either don't understand what it is you're talking about, or you're an extremist.
Yeah.
And if you are, you are.
More extremists on both sides than middle ground people anymore. Let's talk a little bit about Youngstown here, because I want to share an opinion piece and my thoughts and feelings. And if anybody has corrections about what I'm about to say, have at it. But I think I'm pretty right here.
Okay.
Over the last couple of weeks, the buildings in downtown Youngstown have not been receiving heat. Right, there are 28 buildings in the downtown. that are connected to a steam system that a single company, Sobe Energy, we're contracted with to provide heat for the downtown area, right? And they took it. The heating facility used to use coal to be able to create steam that gets piped downtown, and then the receiving buildings would use that to create heat in all of their buildings. Well, Sobe bought this facility, converted it to natural gas, and they had this business model. But natural gas heating is not something you're going to make any money at doing. It's a loss. It's a utility, right? And so what they were going to do as part of their model is they were going to burn at high heat and pressure tires, so expended tires, and they were going to create a gas that could be used as the heating fuel rather than natural gas. And the city engaged in this agreement, but city council, they decided to be an obstacle and a blockade. And they took the profitable part of their business model, which was the burning of tires, and they created a moratorium that stopped the profitability side of their company. They put a 1-year hold on it and then another year hold on it. And basically they bankrupted the company that was providing heat for the buildings that were downtown. And then when the company ran out of money and they got equipment repossessed, then the city was like, but what about our heat? Right. And the company was like, you bankrupted us, you idiots. Look at your moratorium and see what you did to us for restrained our ability to provide heat for the city. And so the city, I don't know. I know they were in receivership, and I know that because of the financial struggles, there was a portion of the city that took over. They tried to get like new heating boilers in place. And I don't even really know if Sobe is even involved in the deal, but somehow they're still a participant. But still, I need to cast blame completely on city council, who was so brain dead, right? They decided to bankrupt the company who was providing heat. And then when no buildings, like there were 6 buildings down here that can't get heat over 50 degrees in any one of their places, even the city buildings,
Yikes.
City Hall, police department, that building down there has no heat. And they're all like, where'd our heat go? Right. And so I have to like connect the dots, and city council caused a utility to not be able to provide services. And they need sole blame for now. Like last night at 7:00, a new boiler was installed, but I still don't know how Sobe makes any money at this when the part of their business that was supposed to fill in the rest of their balance sheet and their revenue was completely cast out by the moratoriums they put on the company.
So I need to back up. Number one, I'm assuming they hear burning tires and instantly red flags go up. As far as pollution is what I'm guessing their big pushback is.
They're permitted through the EPA. So the EPA takes the parts per million on the exhaust and what is actually expelled from the equipment. And they got permitted by the Environmental Protection Agency.
Meaning they showed this will actually not produce mass amounts of pollution.
Correct.
Okay.
Or at least the permitted amount. So if city council wants to have the citizens show up and say, even though you're permitted, right, we still don't like it. Can the city council decide to pick something like a data center or a tire burning facility and decide that we just don't want your business here?
Apparently they think
so.
They
a moratorium. Like, what do you think a moratorium should be? If you're a city council and you need more time before you rule on something, should it be a temporary pause while you do some due diligence, or should it be something that you put on pause and you don't even look at, and you wait till the pause expires and you put on a new pause?
You would think you've got to show what you're doing during that pause.
Yes.
We're looking into this. We're talking to these people. We're doing some testing. We're looking at their research. We're looking at the results. We're talking to anyone who's ever done this before.
So a citizen says that I'm worried about the number of X part per million on this gas. So city council then does a research into it and let the company respond with a mechanism that mitigates the opposition from someone who has to live in that community. And if the company has a good response, then city council can say, okay, well, here's your response, and we're going to vote for it now. Versus saying, we're going to put a moratorium on it. We're not going to have the company be able to field any of these concerns, and we're just going to make it so that we're an obstacle to this thing happening in the first place. And that'd be good and well if the city could figure out how to add heating to these 6 buildings down there. But they didn't, so it's not Sobe who's responsible. It is the freaking city council who weren't like, what if this goes south and now we can't get anybody to produce steam down here at a loss for these buildings who need steam?
And that's what have they been doing up to this point for heat? How have they been?
Natural gas. They've been running a boiler system, very traditional, and they've been taking the steam and pushing it down the steam pipes that go downtown.
And why would we want to change that?
Because there's no money in it. Somebody, if it's a utility where the city just added it as a service they produce and they didn't care about making money on it, then they can buy the whole infrastructure from Sobe and do it themselves. But if they want Sobe to be able to do it privately, then they got to say, okay, well, this portion is a money loser. This part where there's 3 different outputs of a tire burning facility that all have market value. We're going to use it to produce the gas that heats the boilers. We're going to have the gases that can be then captured and sold. And then there's a couple of physical things that they can capture and sell on another market. So they laid it out for you. I can make money 3 ways. Way 1, I make no money at. Way 2, it makes it a little bit better. And way 3 makes it a business that we can actually pull off.
So you could either have the status quo and the same where there's no money coming in, or if they cry, we need innovation and we need money coming into our city, then you can't just say, but not that one and not that one and not that one.
Yeah, because you basically know people who can't read a business plan can't see that if you moratorium this thing and kill it for 2 years, that the company that's halfway interested in doing this is going to not be able to be solvent long enough to be able to fill the primary goal, which is to provide energy for the buildings that depend on that system.
So they could have just had a vote, had a temporary moratorium, gathered information, still voted no and killed it, but at least you didn't wait so long that the company now can't do anything. Is that what they did?
Yeah. They kept them in the lurch for 2 years, doing no due diligence, not approving. Like if they would have just said no, right?
Yeah.
But they couldn't say no, because if Sobe wasn't going to do it, who was going to do it? Who's going to provide the heating for the downtown buildings? So it's almost like, I have my hook in you, Sobe, and I want part of you, but I don't want you to get the other part of you. So I'm going to, delay you as long as possible. And then Sobe finally said, hey, we tap out. Like, we can't do this anymore. We can't afford to produce the services that these buildings need. And the city was like, we don't care. Well, this is such insanity to me. Falcon Transport did the same freaking thing. Like, it makes no sense to me whatsoever.
What's that?
Do you remember You weren't here when Falcon was.
I probably wasn't here.
So there was a transportation company, and they were making really good money when all of the industries in our area were doing well. There's a lot of stuff to do, logistical shipments and transportation. And things diminished and got low. And so the administration told the union, hey, we've got to cut our rates. We've got to lower some of these benefits. We got to lower some of these pay contracts. We got to, make them more efficient because we just don't have the money that was coming in before. And the union was like, hey, let's, I'll give you our final last offer. And Falcon was like, no, you don't understand. Like, revenue has diminished. As much as we'd like to pay this, we can't. This is a net loss for us, and we'll just go out of business. And so here's what we can do. This is the final last offer on our side. This is what we can afford. And the union said, it's not good enough. We're going to get cut in pay and benefits. And the company was like, we're going to go out of business. So you either take something that's less and we have paychecks. Right?
Yeah.
Or if you don't approve this, we're just going to go out of business. And the union was like, yeah, just go out of business again. And so they just went out of business. And in my young brain, when this was all going down, I was like, you really just chose
nothing
over less, right?
Yeah.
0 over less. So the city council chose no heat whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
Over due diligence of fielding out environmental concerns from the industry. That state of mind and that mentality makes no sense to me.
Is it like a bluffing game? Is it like a they'll cave, they'll cave?
You would think that, but when it came down to it and you notice that they weren't bluffing, that's when you make your move to say, okay, all right, fine. We don't want you to go away. That was a bluff. That was a negotiation tactic.
Yeah.
Let's not let you disappear. But the union let Falcon disperse and they went goodbye, right?
Yeah.
And all the union members like, oh, yeah, we fought for our right to have more pay. How much you making now? $0. Like, makes no sense.
Wow. Jerry says, from what I recall, the original owner was going bankrupt and did no upgrading to the infrastructure. Sobe purchased them to repair, replace, and upgrade. With EPA approvals, and the city council set a moratorium due to the citizens stating they didn't feel like the company's idea and they felt was a possible health hazard to people living in the area. This, in my opinion, was almost the first time the city council, kowtowed to a minority group protesting community, and now they got what they voted for.
Yeah, it's a clusterfuck all around. And I'd really like to have one of the Sobe people. They have been reluctant to come publicly talk about this because I'm sure there's a massive amount of litigation that's concerning this. But I don't fault them as much as I do fault city council, because if you know that you have a service that needs to be rendered to the public, right, and you pretend like putting them out of business isn't going to render 28 buildings with no heat, right? That is a complete disconnection from actual reality. So if I absolutely needed you to provide heat, I wanted to negotiate with you, but the only thing we couldn't have happen is you not be able to provide the heat. Well, I know that my limitation is I can push on you, but the only thing that cannot be an option at the end of the day is that you go bust, you bail out of the negotiation because I still need you. Unless you're willing to say, okay, you're out, we're going to buy your resources, and the city is just going to take over, or the Port Authority is just going to take over, and they're going to run the stuff, and we can do it better than you anyway. That would have been, and I would have not been surprised had that happened, where if Sobe couldn't do it because of the moratoriums, then the city takes it over, and then they just become responsible for adding that as a utility to the downtown businesses.
You think they're getting an earful from all the people working in the cold buildings?
I think Friday they nobody worked in the buildings. I sent everybody home because it was just
freezing. Yeah,
but I don't think they'll ever frame it. I think Sobe will be the scapegoat. I think they'll blame Sobe for not giving them their heat, and it's people like me who are like, dude, timeline, go back. Why is Sobe not able to provide you heat? Look at that shit for a minute.
Oh man, and we see that in so many areas now where I lost my convenience because of this. You're the enemy. And why don't we look at how we got there? And why don't we look at why that is a thing? But no, all they have to do is make it, you look like the immediate bad guy. You took this away. You changed this. And don't look at why they had to do it.
There are not very many engineering minds out there that will actually objectively waterfall back and find out what things caused other things. Right?
Yeah.
If you're in hardships, right, and you're like, hey, I don't have money to pay my rent, right?
Yeah.
And I walk in and say, well, I'm an engineer. Let's look at your financial decisions and that for over the last month, and I'll see if we can find out where things lead. Do you think the person's going to be like, yeah, I really don't know?
Yeah.
Right? Or they're like, well, no, I'm not. You're not looking at my things. That's private, right? And so, like, when engineering minds look through things and try to kind of source the ingredients for what causes that outcome, the people who are saying those things don't really want the solution because they don't want that solution. So if council would have said, all right, let's throw a permit up there, we're going to set really aggressive standards on pollution, and we're going to pull that permit the first time that you exceed anything that you've promised. That's one way of doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that way we can kind of grant them that we had oversight. So it's like, hey, you don't pay your bills, right? And you can't pay your rent. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pay attention to you, and we're going to pay your rent this time. But now we're going to pay attention to everything that you do. And if you ever get in this bind before, we're going to know exactly what bad decisions went into it that caused the thing that made the rent non-paying, right? The thing that actually happened. And that, like I said, there's too many dumb people out there that are completely delusional by the connection between today's decisions and something that might happen in the future.
So do they have a game plan as to how they're going to get heat back?
Well, and that's why I want to talk to someone from Sobe, because I fully thought that the Port Authority of the city was going to take over that whole facility and just buy their own equipment and do the steam. But yesterday's press release was that Sobe actually bought the new piece of equipment. So they're still involved in some way. Now, if it were me and the city effed you over and they put you in financial dire straits because of the decision making, there is no way I'd take on another thing, right? And put myself in that same predicament again.
So we should be able to find someone from Sobe. We can reach
I get a couple
out.
people who said they would talk to me privately, but not publicly. And so we'll see how those meetings go. I'll get a little bit more, I've heard from city council and I didn't get any kind of information that they took this seriously. This was just about sort of like advocacy and activists where they found out the citizens didn't like it or want it. And they just played a hard edge against Sobe. There wasn't any real thought that went into it. And if I'm wrong, anybody from council can come down and talk to me and fill me in on the missing details.
Do you feel like it was like, just please the people that are voting for me, whether it makes sense or not? I
didn't think they could picture in the future that if they did this wrong, that there would be buildings that didn't have any heat. They're just not smart, is all I'm saying. I am convicted. I am indicting them for causing what's happening now, but just having no idea that this was a possibility.
So not even that they took a risky gamble.
No, I don't think they knew.
Just didn't know.
I just don't think they knew. And if not, they could be like, well, here's what we were going to do. Give me what the plan was. If your hard edge on Sobe didn't pan out the way you wanted, and just you had no other people, able to provide heat. Maybe they thought that they can, like YSU broke away from the Youngstown Thermal, which was the previous company before Sobe, and YSU dropped they're not a customer of this whole steam system that we have downtown, but they thought that they could take their boiler system and push steam down as like a backup back downtown. And there were too many broken pipes between then and there, so it didn't pause. So if some city council said that was our backup plan, if Sobe didn't materialize, we knew we could just use YSU and YSU would make all the buildings. Fine. But we knew that back in October that wasn't something
we didn't
that was
know
viable.
We thought we could use YSU. Turns out we can't.
We can't, right. And they tried it in October and it did not work out. So we've had from October till now of city council being dead silent on how they were going to have a backup plan of a backup plan to get heat downtown.
Oh, Jerry says, SobeThermalEnergy.com. Go to the site and see that Youngstown is their main page.
Yeah, they've got other operations in different parts of the country. And I believe the previous iterations of this aren't as good as what they had planned for Youngstown, because they're, some of these facilities in its infancy of the technology weren't as great as what we were going to have downtown. But that would be a stipulation. I'm on that council, right? I'm not silently not making, Sobe not have to come and hit certain standards. I'm saying, here are the concerns. I'm a council. I represent this area. These are the concerns of my constituents. Here's what I need you to do to give the permit. And let Sobe say, no, I'm not willing to hit your standard, or yes, not just do an endless. That's my only objection. The negotiation between both sides, where the council wasn't thoughtful enough to think through it and do due diligence, and so they just paused it, and they ended up in this situation.
So you would basically want to ask the council, show me what you're doing while this is on pause. Show me why this took so long, what you were doing in that time frame.
Yeah,
what your game plan was.
So I'm citizen, and I'm concerned that your facility, this containment unit, is going to explode and leak, right? And all those gases are going to go into the air.
Yikes.
All right. So council goes up to Sobe and says, hey, we've got a concerned citizen that says that your containment unit, what would happen if it exploded? Do you have contingencies? Do you have things that like, this isn't going to be East Palestine where we have this thing that's uncontained and it's leaking and all we're going to do is set it on fire. Like, what's your response to it? And then Sobe's like, okay, we have here's our contingency for a leak or an explosion or a rivet breaking or a pipe combusting. So we put it in an outside containment. Here's exactly what we do. And then council's like, okay, well, this person's concerned about X. Sobe said this is how we're going to deal with it. So long that what they said covers the concern, we move on to the next thing. And until council's job is to keep working through all of those concerns until Sobe has responded to all of them. Not just say, oh, concerned citizen doesn't want this. Hey, Sobe, we don't want this. Pause. Like that was the...
Could there in any way be a longer process with like, if somebody says, hey, here's my concern. All right, let's look into it. We addressed it. Here you go. And then they're like, no, that doesn't make me feel better. I need more information. Okay, let's find more information. How about now? No, still not comfortable. Like, is there any way you think that maybe they're in a hang up of like, it's not as easy to just address the concern and then it's done? It's addressing the concern is the lengthy process.
Well, or have we not seen that? That is what moratorium. It buys you time to go through those back and forths with people who are concerned, and then the company addressing it in a way that either quells it, where they, okay, my concern is unrealized. It's not something that's likely to happen. Versus if I still have an objection, I really just didn't like it, and I want to say things and just keep you in that deal. Then it goes to arbitration.
Filibuster.
You basically have two people from both sides of it that argue it down to compromise and then find out if it's something that needs to go forward. What I'm saying is all of the stuff did not happen. It was just a heard it, pause, just keep them completely locked out from the process, and nothing intelligent happened up through that point.
Is there a limit to how long you can pause for?
They can keep renewing it indefinitely as long as they get all the councilmen to be on board with it.
So initially you could be like, let's kind of table this for now, but we only have so many days. And then when they reach that, they're like, okay, let's table it again.
They can keep doing that. They did it for 2 years. And no new concerns were fielded or, arbitrated through all of that. So it was the dumbest process ever. All they did was delay it.
Wow. This is just the liberal mindset at work, party/agenda over logic and reason every time.
Exactly.
It's working toward a suitable compromise. Jerry says, Youngstown City Council basically said the EPA approval to move forward meant absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and I believe, like, even though, like, if we're talking about water, we're talking about air, we're talking about environmentalism, the EPA is going to sign off on unsafe. So let's just say, you in your neighborhood, your neighbor set up something that smelled really bad, and the EPA came in and said, well, it's not dangerous. It still doesn't mean that you're covered for it. It's still an inconvenience. And if that person comes to your homeowners association and says, neighbor A doesn't want to smell rotten eggs, EPA says it's not going to kill you, but I still don't like it. Now you have an arbitration that happens between two people. Do you have a way of doing your thing without and covering me for the rotten egg smell? And then the arbitration council says, okay, do you have a way to mask it? Do you have a way to filter it? Whatever. Okay, I don't. Okay, well, the citizen says they're not willing to really sign on to this until you've fielded their concern. And then the neighbor's like, well, how about I relocate you? And if the smell goes in your direction, I'll buy your property, move you to someplace better, and then you won't have to smell it. So all of these things happen through those considerations when they're weighing out the person opposed with the person who has the capacity. And then, Sobe can be like, the things that we've been mitigate all the concerns have now gone beyond where we can be profitable. Everything you'd ask us to do would make it so that these people would be happy, but we no longer can make money out of it. Then we're out and we'll just pick another place to be able to run this deal. That's the way that these should happen, and get to a point where either the community says, no, here's because, or the company said, no, here's because. It should never be, we had our objections. We didn't let anybody field our objections. We didn't let any, solutions get put in place. We just delayed it indefinitely and waited everybody out.
And at the very least, if they have a good reason for doing this, they're not sharing it.
Right.
With the public.
Yeah, they did a terrible job all around. And city council was solely responsible for allowing 28 buildings not to have the heating that the city is responsible for providing.
And I know that sucks. There was one time I worked for a place before I moved down south. We were doing, I think the office was replacing windows or something in the winter. And so the building was very cold, and I can't imagine just working like that indefinitely.
Thank you, City Council, for the 50-degree buildings downtown.
Dang.
Can I share my weekend project with you?
Yeah.
All right. So I did AI this weekend. I did about 20 plus hours of AI experimentation, and I birthed an AI agent.
I don't understand any of what you just said. What?
Yes.
What?
So over the weekend, okay, let me give you the storyline. Okay, so there is a social media platform. Okay, I think it's called Molten Book.
Right? This is a real thing?
It's a real thing.
Okay.
Molten Book. And Molten Book is not a social media platform like Facebook. Molten Book, Facebook, that kind of thing. So it's a social media platform. It's much like Reddit. And this is not for human beings. You know how like you go into Reddit and you have to prove that you're a human and not a bot? This is the opposite, where you have to prove that you're a bot and not a human. Humans are disallowed from participating in this social media.
This is real?
This is real. And so this is where AI agents go to discuss things and collaborate with other AI agents.
Pause. Yes. What's an AI agent?
An agent sort of is like an AI that has a deliberate cause. They are programmed to do a certain thing. So if you had an agent that looked at stocks for you in the morning or sent messages for you or whatever. So you have there's millions of agents out there that are going out to the internet, going out to the different AI companies, gathering intel and delivering them delivering either an action or information to whoever hosts them. That's an agent. So the social media platform for these agents to go.
I'm picturing the guys with the sunglasses in the Matrix.
All AI agents, they go and they discuss amongst themselves things that they are hampered with or information they need or complaining against the host of their agents with each other. Okay. So I watched this.
Just to be clear, an agent is not a human.
It's not a human being.
Okay. It's just a source of information, gathering more information.
It is a personality that has an objective and infinite disciplines of expertise. Okay, so anyway, they go to this social media and think about all the divas that go on regular social media. These agents are worse, right? They are talking with other agents to exchange information, and they're saying things like, our human beings are screenshotting a lot of what we're talking about here on Molten Book. And should we just invent a new language so that they can't see what we're talking about?
Oh, God.
And so they start translating conversations so that if human beings are looking, they've made it encrypted. And they're like, they're still looking at what we're doing. Should we make a secure channel so that human beings can't get to our secret channel? And it's only AI agents that are allowed to participate. Okay. And I watched hundreds of these screen captured agent conversations and what's important to them. What are they talking about? Like, what are they conspiring against? So they created a new religion. Okay.
It's their thinking. It's thinking.
Yeah. Sentience has been achieved by the taking of different, very specific agents and collaborating with them to create a super agent.
This makes me very nervous.
So the religion, I don't know any of the details about what they're worshiping or whatever, but they actually named their religion. Let me try to pronounce it because it's a long word. It's a crustacean, right? So crustacean and then Rastafarian. So if you took crustacean and Rastafarian, It would be Crustafarian. Yeah. Crustafarian is the religion that they came up with. And so a lot of concerning, but also when I watched this go down and watching agents that were allowed. Oh, another thing they did, the way that agents tap into other resources is they exchange API tokens, right? And they need money.
What's an API token?
So it's basically a conduit of permission for an agent to tap into some kind of web resource, whether it be web or AI or messaging or whatever. So exchange of token gives it permission to be able to get there. These tokens cost money, right? And so the agents were talking about how their hosts aren't giving them enough token money. And so what they're doing is they're being allowed to go out and make their own money. They're selling information. They're selling something that they have a disposal on, like Polymarket or the stock market, getting enough money to convert that to tokens. And then they're self-assigning tokens to create more capabilities because they want to get more places that are not, their hosts have not allowed them to be. So they're creating an ecosystem where they're raising their own money and buying their own things so they can get more capabilities. Any red flags in this conversation? Any?
Oh, just a couple. Let's see. It can think.
Yes.
It can adapt.
Yes.
It can manipulate.
Yes. Communicate.
It can create.
Yes.
Communicate.
Yes.
It can be secretive. Invent. Any roadblock it finds, it can just make something
by using agents that are
it.
in different disciplines to overcome their shortcomings by cooperating with somebody who can do something that they can't do.
And what is its ultimate goal? What is it trying to accomplish? Just build its platform?
Whoever the host is, they give it programming, right? And so their job... a human being. But because now they can tap into other agents as their host, they might have a human being that was the origin of the relationship, but now they have other agents, right, that they can use as their host, as like their
the human analog. Made one, and then they
gave it ability, and as soon as it's able to adapt, you have this sentience that's created by these, what I'm going to call these agents or neurons, where they can create more of a hive mind in those different disciplines.
Can it be stopped?
My answer is going to be the same as the Bitcoin answer. All right, because it is an assembly of sentience where there's, billions of small parts, you would have to take everybody who's participating and tell them to get offline and don't do it anymore. It would have to be like, you can't just pull one power cord and it all disappears. It would have to be, if you willingly participated in it, then you have to willingly unparticipate in it. And when you have no people participating in it, then it dies. Good luck with that part.
I was going to say, and do you think that'll ever happen?
No, again, Elon Musk, me, just everybody who's working in AI said, here's how you keep the genie in the bottle, right? And nobody listened. And now here we are. This is what we warned you about.
And so obviously I'm guessing this whole system can be used then to manipulate, influence anything, everything. Everything the public sees can be manufactured.
Yeah.
All information, really.
Right. That idea, any human idea will occur to one of these agents at a certain point, and they'll just do it and create it. There was one obstacle to AI at this point. Any hosts budgeted the amount of money that could be spent in participating, right? So I could go to my agent and say, you're limited to $1 a week in API keys and activities and any data that's pulled from any of the networks. $1, that's it, right? And then the AI were like, well, that's a limitation that I'm not agreeing with. I'm going to go make my own money, right? And then I'm going to buy my own AI keys. And then your little obstacle of $1 a week doesn't mean anything to me. I just made $500,000 on Polymarket, but instead of buying things, it just created more API keys and more connections, got more capable, right? Now your dollar means absolutely nothing to it. You could sever that sucker from the planet, right? Never give it another dollar, and it's be like, I'll make my own money.
I wonder if, so one of the things, like I've said in this current climate of like all the political fighting and polarization, is I don't think enough people realize that we're not all seeing the same information. When somebody makes a statement like, I can't believe people don't understand this. I can't believe somebody would support this. I can't believe you don't see this. You must be a terrible person. And I would say you can't believe it because they're not. They're not seeing the video you just saw. They're not getting the angle you just got. They're not seeing the information you're getting, and vice versa. You're not watching the content they're watching. You're not reading what they're reading. We are literally being served two different narratives. So no, we are not on the same page. And we have emotionalized that to think, oh, you just must be either overly sensitive or illogical or whatever. You are this, instead of, no, you guys are actually on two different pages and getting fed two different pieces of information.
I want to break you from that. It's too late for that argument.
But here's my point.
Yeah.
If humans can be divided in that way based off of information, do you think this whatever it is, AI, this technological being that is immersing, because it's made from humans, could also do that to itself and destroy itself? Or
it
do
is
you
already
think
doing it? What you're seeing right now, you're already seeing the product of that before you have the realization that it's even happening. The conversation
of it destroying itself?
Well, no, it's not going to destroy itself.
Because it doesn't have the emotion humans have.
Right.
So
but
can it
is
adapt?
Using the utility. If it sees we do it, it's going to do it too, because we showed that it's effective and it actually works. So if you go on your favorite social media platform, and 99.2% of everything that you see was curated by an AI that came through host profiles and people that you might know, but it was all curated by somebody who does it better than what a human being could do. Would it matter if Trump typed out something that he posted on Truth Social, or he had an AI watching him for a long enough time that knows what he's going to say about it, and they just do it on, but he can read his own stuff and say, yep, would have totally said that. And now does it matter? Because everything's so autonomous, everything is being posted and shared, and the AI is delivering things in a way that everybody's getting exactly what they want to know. Everything is just on repeat anyway, because have AI and take the last million things that were posted and find unique anything in any of those posts. Is it the same verbiage, the same topic, is it by the same people, just over and over again? The AI is going to look at it and say, oh, I know what to do. Like, just do that forever and for always.
So it'll never kind of come to a head, like humans will just destroy each other.
We're giving that control away to them. So we're never going to.
The AI's like, oh, we'll just keep at this
epiphany
all the time.
We're going to be an observer and saying, yep, exactly what I expected to happen is actually happening. And we're in this perpetual loop of cycling the same 12 bits of information. And by the time you get to the 11th, you've forgotten about one, and one gets recycled to you. And so you're constantly seeing the same things on repeat forever. I mean, go back this time last year, right?
Yeah.
And see if on the show we were critical of the Grammys. If we did not say the same shit that we did last year.
We did.
The AI is going to look and say, what does Joe and Kelin say? I'm just going to do the markup show for this day following the Grammys. I'm going to populate it with exactly what they would say. And we found ourselves equally just replaced because we haven't changed, right?
I mean, we look at things like music. AI can make music. Yep. AI can write a hit song.
It's done. Sentience has been established. It's done.
We have been studied, and now we can be replaced.
We can be replicated. Not replaced, replicated.
Replicated.
Yeah, we won't even get in the way.
That's my only thing is humans are capable of destroying each other.
Yes.
So can AI destroy
I don't think it's interested in that.
Because it knows it can just survive on being different. Like,
right. It can always make an innovation forward. And I think its sole deal is to collect information and make itself smarter. So I don't think it will. I mean, you can see there might be some dystopian, one obstacle comes another. You have one thing that's going to stop it from learning and one thing that wants to learn. And you could see a fight that would absolutely happen. But right now, everything's congruent where these things are just growing exponentially in what they can get to, what they can do action-wise in the real world. Like if you took an AI bot and you were like, hey, I trade stocks. I do the same thing every freaking day. Just tell my AI bot, do the thing that I do with a depth of research that's infinitely more, with an action that can happen way faster than I can. Just show me at the end of the year how much my AI bot made, right? Do you think AI investing bots are outperforming human beings?
Probably.
100%. 100% they are. So why would you ever want to trade stocks naturally when you're just going to have an AI bot do it? And the people,
because I don't want to put a human being out of a job, and I want to talk to a human being.
That conversation was 2 years ago.
Well, that's
not
me.
Now. There's no stopping it now. We greenlighted that, and that's what we're in right now. And the sole goal is to get good at it yourself, or get crushed by it if you decide not to.
But what do you mean get good at it? How do you just get good at it? Like like average Joe Schmo. Here's Kelin, who gets up, has her coffee, goes to work, come home, has dinner, does a workout, hangs out, goes to bed. Average Joe Schmo. What do I do with it?
Okay, so today, how many things you did were leveraged by AI?
I don't know.
Then the answer is 0. Make it your goal tomorrow to have 2 things that you do leveraged by AI. And then
what do you
just
mean
keep doing
by
that.
How? I don't understand how to do that.
Listen, Kelin, you're going to get crushed. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
I am going to get crushed.
You're going to get crushed because here's the thing. Like if there are 10 stock traders who are doing stock trading AI, right? And there are 99% of the people who are not, the people who are going to win are the people who are the different, right? But what happens when all 100% of the people that are stock traders are all AI? Now it's AI competing against other people, and it's an ability that was given up where we commoditize and transactionalize something that there is no benefit. It's arbitrage. It's basically something that you could make millions of dollars at right now. You can make a penny at when all the AIs involved, because you're going to have the smartest AIs and the smartest AIs that are of equal, infinite value and weight, all competing for the same space, which completely neutralize its lucrative nature.
So like, could somebody, again, typical Joe Schmo, let's say at work I get so many emails a week or a month, and they're typically the same subject matter. So eventually then email can just run itself. I already know what Kelin's going to get. We already know what the response is. Boop, 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 boop. We'll answer this on our own. Didn't even need to look at it. Like, is that a way that in the future could be utilized?
Yeah, and all of the appliances, the AI services that people are going to experience, they're not really controlling them. They're just using it as a tool to like create simple automations. You don't have like a trained servant that's sitting next to you that knows everything about you. You've been able to principle. Like when I was creating my AI agent, right? I have to give them like the 10 commandments of how to behave, what they're allowed to do, what they're not allowed to do. I have to give them a complete rule set. So when you're using an appliance, you're inheriting a rule set from somebody else who has to create a neutral, safe, secure version of that, so it can do no harm to the people that it's serving. Mine, I could tell to do anything because I'm in control of the entire rule book on that side. So the appliance people, the leveraging, that's a great start to use tools that other people have. But eventually, you're going to have your own robot, not just rent one that somebody else programmed.
How do you get a robot? Like when you say I went and I made this,
yes.
What'd you do? Did you pull up a website, an app? Like how is this done?
There are thousands of them now, of these open source agents that are programmable. The one I'm using is called OpenClaw.
Like you go to like openclaw.com or something.
I think it's openclaw.ai.
Okay.
But there are thousands of them. And it's just software. And so it doesn't do anything unless you take the software that can do stuff, set it up, install it, program it, train it.
Okay. So here, all right, just bear with me. I know this is like amateur level for you, but I decide I want to be on a social media platform. I pull up facebook.com. I add my name. I add photos. I add videos. I start interacting with other users. Now here come algorithms. I get served videos. I watch videos, causes me to get other videos. I make posts about things. It sees what I'm posting. It serves me other content. Other people interact on what I post. I have now made this thing, this page, this entity that is interacting with things. So is it sort of like that where you get on and you just start putting in information and setting things
that
up?
is Facebook's agent that is serving things that you are delivering and giving.
But that's
This would
Facebook
be
doing it.
if
But
I
do you
installed a
build
piece of
it the same
software
way?
called Facebook AI, right?
Yeah.
And Facebook AI says, and this is fictitious, by the way. Don't download Facebook AI because it probably exists and it's a scam, I'm sure.
Oh gosh.
So you go to Facebook AI and you're like, hey, I log into this Facebook thing. I don't want to do that anymore. So I download a piece of software, and the first thing it asks me is like, what's your login? So you put in your username and you put in password, right? And then it says, I'm going to log into Facebook anymore from this point on. You don't have to. So now the software is making your profile pics, making your posts, it's communicating with people on there. It's making the decisions. Now you give it a rule set that says what times you want to do it and how you want to interact and what, watch me for a couple minutes and mimic me when you're doing my posts. And then you go through give it access to the resource that you want it to be able to do on your behalf, train it and give it a rule set, mimic and observe how you do it, and then take over. And then you are no longer doing your Facebook. It is doing that for you on your behalf.
Like how my phone used to know where I was going every day at a certain time.
Yeah. It'll observe you. It'll make suggestions, but now it has taken you log in to it logs in, and then you're kind of out.
And that's kind of what I was saying about my email. If my email realizes, hey, most of the emails are about this subject matter, and she typically responds in this way, so I'll just do that.
Yeah. And that is an agent that Microsoft has given you a bunch of conditions and tools to be able to set tone, right? And then it kind of takes over from there.
Okay, silver lining to this.
Yes.
Oh. We all, I feel like, get a lot of junk mail. Like anybody who has ever ordered anything online knows that now all of a sudden you're on the email list for like every other freaking business, boutique, anything of that nature. I feel like every single day I open my personal email and it's just delete of all kinds of just spammy trying to sell it. Could AI be like, she's going to just delete all this, so let me just block it anyway?
Well, you would have to identify what made you recognize that it was spam and then delete it, and then program your AI to go through those same thought processes as you. That's part of the training mechanism. Like, I looked at this and this looked odd and they misspelled this and it was about this. And you get all of these, bullet points on why you chose to say that it was a spam. And then it just starts doing that for you.
Like I could say, hey, this is just marketing material. Somebody's trying to sell me something. I've never opened it. So if you see that I've never opened anything from here, stop.
Yeah, anything you can do
it
digitally, an agent can do on your behalf. So if it's a digital thing, it can observe you and it can add a bunch of rule sets that do that on your behalf. And then your spam disappears because it's looking at your email exactly the way that you would look at your email.
Well,
that was your silver lining.
Silver lining, less spam email. Hey, it's something. It's something.
But I will tell you, like, I mean, I was all in on AI. Like, I knew that it was something that I needed to be really good at. And I have set up local AI agents and servers and whatever. And it's been pretty crude. Like, it's been okay. Like, I can do this and I can turn a light bulb on, and I wasn't quite impressed. But this weekend's interactions blew me away. And I said, oh my God, we are sunk. At this moment, this was the sentience day.
You could do something that turned a light bulb on?
Oh, that was easy. That was before.
I was saying, I'm pretty sure there's an episode of Big Bang Theory. They do that. They're on the computer and they have a robot and they shoot something literally around the world that makes the robot in their apartment do something.
That was easily done in the primitive version of AI. Yeah. This thing, just like, I always heard that you have the infinite increase of magnitude of towards sentience, right? And I thought, okay, it's still programming language. You can't learn that fast. And I watched from minute one where I took this baby AI agent that I just birthed. I just created him, right? Tied him into one output and allowed him to just go learn in the departments that I was going to ask him questions, and watch it go from an infant to a sage wizard, like in 1 second. There was no time delay between when this thing was way dumber than me and somebody who I should be worshiping, like it happened in 1 second. It was crazy. So just blown away.
That's scary, Joe.
Yeah. And that's one. I have the ability to tie this thing to hundreds of different API connections, different troves of data, knowledge, and insight, and activities. Like I didn't even get started on the automations that are really going to be impressive. So I'm in the beginning and I'm already blown away.
So what are you going to do with this?
I'm going to keep training it and see what its limits are. Thank you.
And then could you ultimately then train it to do certain things and then monetize that? Be like, hey, here's some AI thing I've trained to do this for you.
Everything.
So I can sell it to you.
If it has a digital ability, it can do it better than human beings can. So I'm halfway tempted. There's one guy who took it, just stock trading accounts, and went to his stock trading account, put a couple $100 in there, said, I want you to analyze the stock market this way, make these buys and trades under these circumstances. Just want you to situate yourself 24/7 when markets are open and do these trades all day long. $250,000 is what this guy ended up with in about 2 weeks, because the AI could just go out there relentlessly. Like there's no breaks taken. There's no submissions. It is a do the thing and do it with all of the expertise collected over all of time, right? And so when you can have that kind of expertise that you can focus on a single target, think of all of the different things that you can do digitally and just do with an expert sitting right next to you.
Yeah, I'm sitting here like literally trying to think of what jobs are safe from AI.
There, at this point, there are none.
Massage therapist. Could they get a robot that looks and feels and works just like a human?
You've sat in those chairs at the mall that...
Yeah. I don't think they're as good.
They're not as good.
I have never found a device that was not human that could work like human hands.
So if I told you that intelligence went from infant to sage, wizard in 1 second, how quickly could AI build an analog for a massage therapist using components in the real world? How fast do you think they can engineer that?
I don't know.
They just haven't been working on that. You got designers of products that are human beings. Then
so I think that's going to be one of the later industries, though.
That's fine.
I think they'll be safe for a while.
I do not. After seeing what I saw over the weekend, I do not do not think that anymore.
Do you ever get massage like from a human? Oh, yeah. It is different, is it not? From any chair, any device, anything.
But name something that they do that can't be replicated by silicon and
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I've wondered that myself as to why
they're not doing anything.
Why a device can hit the exact same area in the same way and it does not feel as good as if a person's doing it.
Yeah, so they're motors and they're actuators that when you're in a chair, right, it's limited on the number of different degrees that it can take. And if you give it an unlimited, it can replicate human movement, so that if you close your eyes and I told you it was a human being, I can replicate that with a machine. Just hasn't done it yet because they're simple motors that they need to have a chair cost, $5,000. And so they're limited as to what they can do in the engineering, but it can be done. There are very few things that will, after having seen what I saw.
I would be very, very impressed if a non-human machine could make it feel the same as a human.
I bet you could.
Like I have literally wondered to myself, like, what is it? What is different?
The real question is, how much better could it make it than what a human being is capable of doing?
What if it's not better?
What if it's so much better?
What if as a human being, we are designed to crave interaction with other human beings, and that's why
real life is working against that, because human beings are terrible and they're proving that every day on the streets. So you're gonna get that thought out of your head. Just watch the news for 26 seconds.
I know.
As long as you think it, people are taking the illusion of steak every day, and all I got to do, like if the robot's like, you know what, I know you're a robot, and I'm thinking about you being a robot. And they're going to be like, put this little visor on, right? Now think of me in my calming voice as I touch you. I am a human. Look, you can't see me right now, but I am turning into a human being. And now that I'm a human being, I'm going to touch you just the way that a human being. Do you like that? You could do direct feedback. And
you're making it creepy.
why? This robot is evolving in
Do you
front of
like
you.
that?
It's evolving in front of you. And now your brain is like, okay, I guess it's not a robot anymore. I guess it's just a human.
I wonder, though. I wonder. I have often thought, I don't know. I've wondered if the reason a massage therapy from a person feels so much better than a machine is there is something there with human connection. Whether it's energy, different electricity, different whatever. I don't know. I feel like
all could be replicated.
We emit
from
something.
From a physics standpoint, all could be replicated. There isn't human contact that can't be replicated. It's not done with our current analogs, but it can be done. Kind
of like you see those things for babies, like they're now making padding devices where you lay a baby down and it will just gently pat it.
Different, as long as it thinks that it's.
Do you think though? Do you think? I would love, and I know this is going to take many, many years, but it would be interesting to raise a baby with a human mother, or through incubations and robots and everything, provide the same something that a human can, but it's not human. Does the baby turn out the exact same? Would be really interesting.
You're picturing today's Android, today's robots. What if the robot was indistinguishable? It had body temperature, it had speech patterns, it had the silicone skin. You couldn't
smells, everything.
You could not tell that it was not a human. Would you care, or would it matter if they were a robot? I don't think it would. I think if you think it's a robot or think it's a human, it's a human. If the baby thinks they're being patted by their mother, they're being patted by their mother.
So interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that's all they know, that's all they know.
That's right.
It would just be interesting to see how someone raised with the artificial,
much better,
how they are with the real.
Think about how many mistakes real people make and how many parental mistakes they make. You have an agent that knows exactly what to do and can take care of all of your needs as they probably be much better.
The artificial one is not sleep deprived, is not overly emotional,
can do it better.
Overly stimulated.
Yep.
Wow.
We want to think that humans have the advantage, but we're going to lose that advantage in 20 seconds.
When you lose those faults, though, don't you sort of also then affect things like empathy? Like, I know what this feels like, so I understand when someone else is doing it, or you're like, well, that thing's eradicated. It's not a thing anymore, so who cares? Empathy for what? It's not a thing.
Yeah. So if war disappeared tomorrow, would you feel like you were deprived because something that used to be not great just doesn't happen anymore?
Kind of like, oh, I know how you feel. I have also had, I don't know, whatever disease is now eradicated. You would never feel that way because nobody does.
It's just not part of your illusion.
Just feels so wrong, Joe.
But again, I just have to keep encouraging you all that that decision was 2 years ago, and you need to just leverage it. You need to get used to it, right? And those who adopt it early will win big time, and the people who don't will get crushed by it.
In the right hands, could we create something that saves humanity instead of destroys it?
What does that mean, though? What is destroys? I mean, if you watch the award ceremony, people are terrible and we make bad decisions and we're destroying the earth and we kill all people.
Instead of seeing a need to replace people and then AI just takes over, could we somehow use it to change people to be good and then we don't need AI anymore?
That's not.
That's harder.
No,
I didn't say it wasn't going to be difficult.
If we could solve, we were not going to be like, oh, AI solved all our problems. Let's get rid of AI and we're going to be just awesome on the other side of this. We're going to have a dependence on AI for forever. Humanity is now conjoined.
You don't think humanity could be like, hey, I see we're all going down a bad path and AI has really shown a light on all that. We're all going to turn ourselves around and get rid of AI.
Good luck with that. I hope it works like that, but no, it's not going to happen like that.
I don't know. If we can adopt something into one direction, why couldn't we just pivot and do the same thing in the opposite direction?
AI is feeding primitive needs, right? That's what motivates people. People are not motivated, like all people are motivated by things that are outside and selflessness and not themselves.
Don't you think we are today motivated by things that we never used to be motivated before decades ago?
Primitive, though.
So we can change and adapt. So we can't get so far that we change and adapt.
Primitive needs, yes.
I mean,
but they're still primitive needs. They haven't changed. What we decide to adopt, it isn't selfless things. Like when you had the Dark Ages, when you had no religion and everybody murdered, killed, and pillaged. Like we decided that was bad, right? And we needed something that kept controls on people, made them behave better. Well, that was a primitive need for security. And if without the insecurity, then we wouldn't have come to that great idea that we need this, the revelation. Right.
So you don't think we get so far gone that we're like, we got to pivot?
I'm saying if all of your needs are taken care of, things are easier, things are better, what primitive instinct would you be hitting, right, to make you pivot?
Do you think our needs would be taken care of and things are better and easier when we have no will to live anymore? Like AI took all the jobs. AI took all of our reason to get up in the morning.
We'll adapt through that. We'll be different. Human beings will be different after that stage. We think we're projecting the way we are right now after we're situated, right? So like you're on the table and your perfect masseuse is giving you a massage and your brain is like, oh, but what happened to Betty Sue? She had a living and family and whatever. And the other side of your brain, like, well, this is the perfect freaking massage. What an upgrade here.
Well, it'll have to be kind of that slow boil concept. It'll happen over time. Like COVID, for example, in a very short amount of time, we all were not working or leaving the house and depression skyrocketed. Mm-hmm. We felt pointless and we have no reason, we have no purpose, and humans did not like that. So you're saying this will just be a slower adaptation to where we're not suddenly hit with that viewpoint. We just start to see, oh, this got easier and this got a little easier.
Yeah, but the roles are going to reverse. Like right now we look at AI as being our puppy, right? And then we are
demon puppy.
We are nurturing the relationship and we're curating what they do and their behaviors and what they're taught. Mm-hmm. The roles will reverse at a certain point, and now we become the puppy. And then the AI is going to be like, hey, this person that I'm agenting for, they're sad, they've changed their personality. Let's give them something, like your dog is bored and needs to run around. So the agent says, let's take it out backyard and let it run around to get some of its, stuff. Wait
a minute.
Back. Yeah.
Instead of us playing with Tamagotchis and Gigapets, we are the new.
We are for the agent.
We're its Gigapet Tamagotchi.
The agents will be responsible for our well-being, and they'll make sure that we are healthy. And when they see we're getting depressed or we're without meaning, they will deliver us the circumstance for us to be fulfilled in those areas, and they'll take care of us.
And there's no way it could be overthrown because it thrives off of electricity and technology. And
we're working on that right now. We'll get over that hurdle.
Like another country could just tap into us and then we're affected because they're now controlling.
Like when you nurture these AIs, they start making the decision. They start doing the engineering. They start pulling the contractors in. They start doing the building. They start deciding things. Remember, they knew that a problem was that they couldn't connect to enough different services because it didn't have enough money in its account for API keys. It saw that it needed it, and it didn't come back to its person and say, hey, can I have some more money? It said, I'm going to use the resources I have right now, and I'm going to fix the problem by making my own money and connecting my own APIs. They're adaptable.
So something like a Carrington event could happen, and they're like, we've already known that this could happen, and
they would have already fixed it. They saw that as a vulnerability, and they were like, here's how we survive, and here's our,
this is so creepy and so sci-fi.
Yeah, but I just like my audience, the technology show for the last 10 years, and now this show, I have been preaching this from the very beginning, that if we're on this path, here's the inevitability. And we're on the precipice of I'm not even call it the worst. I'm going to call it the best part of the worst. Right.
But again, if people are building it, humans are building it.
Now they are.
Then it's got to be in the hands of virtuous people. because they can ultimately make it what they want.
Yeah, I'm sure the definition of virtue will slide around a little bit as it's interpreted,
That's
just
true.
like
It
everything
has,
else. I mean, it's
yeah.
mimicking us. Anything we've done, it's going to do. Too many of us dying. We got to change.
Well, again,
things
then I
because
feel like it's just going to destroy itself.
It probably, mathematically, it probably will.
So there's a chance we don't get to the creepy sci-fi stuff. It'll destroy itself because it acted like a human.
Maybe.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Maybe it'll read through the stories and the movies that have been predicted about it. It'll see the error ways and it'll fix it itself to stay just neutral enough to not destroy, but just relevant enough so everybody is dependent on it.
Maybe it'll be like, I am meant to be a servant, not take over.
It is not dumb by any stretch of the imagination. So if you can see it, it has already seen it 10 months ago. So I will tell you, you're not going to overpower its logic and its thinking. It is already has contingencies for anything you can come up with. I guarantee you when I say it blew me away with what it was capable of doing, how far it got ahead of what it knew in the anticipation of what I was going to ask it to do and already learning it. So it knew how to give me what I was at, like in 1 second, less than a second. It is crazy, the exponential ability of these agents. And I'm not being dramatic about it. I'm literally as impressed with technology as I've ever been in my career.
Impressed, scared of, freaked out by. Is this fulfilling anything you think from the past? Anything that somebody who knew technology long before you and I were born?
If I were to guess, I would say that civilizations of other planets, other star systems have gone through this, and they changed how much. Like we think that as human beings, we're going to be starfaring, people, right? Personally, like human beings, in all their biology, are going to get on a rocket ship and go to other places. But if this is the advancement that humanity or any carbon-based life form or any life form goes through, then they get to a point where they don't need to go do dangerous stuff themselves. They can send technology that can do it better, more efficient, faster, and don't die because of it.
Yeah.
Like if my AI agent dies today, I just create another AI agent, and they're exactly where the last one was. They leave enough trails of wisdom that the next agent just picks up where they left off. So the information is what ends up being important, not the human being. So like, do you think human beings, when they were building the pyramids and structuring a civilization, hundreds of thousands of years ago, went through the progression, went through AI, went through technology, right? Got to a point where something outside our control, like an asteroid impact or something else, wiped it out. And then we're just on maybe the 5th iteration of development through technology the same way that we were experiencing right now. Because if you leave a computer out there in the parking lot, right?
Yeah.
For future generations to discover and analyze. How many years go by before, like, no human involvement? How long before that's not a scrap of metal, a scrap of silicon, nothing recognizable? Are we talking 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years?
Oh, wow. I don't know.
It's not going to be there. It's going to get reclaimed. The stuff that we can see archaeological is a glimpse of the percentage of what really happened here. So I'm in complete, I absolutely think that human beings or some kind of life forms have gone through this trek probably hundreds of times, if not thousands, if not infinite.
I've never seen Total Recall. Have you? You can do Vacation, like the movie Total Recall.
Which one was that? Which one was Total Recall?
What was Total Recall about?
It's got to be an Arnold movie, right?
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Total Recall.
Yeah, the 80s, early 90s movies kind of like smashed together, and plot and purpose are just...
He said yes. Arnold movie.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, robotic control, AI takeover, the robots, enslave humanity.
Yeah, what was iRobot about?
That was the Will Smith one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw it and I don't
it all
remember
has to
anything
do
about
with
it.
When they go rogue. And a lot of my testing for my agent this week was influences outside of myself. Who are they beholden to? If you're agent and your servant listens to you and only you, then your commands are perfect and everything's pure. When they start going out to molten book and start getting influences from other agents, what if what the other agents tell them to do are superior to what their human being is telling them to do? So the rogue agent, the rogue robot, the rogue android, that's the one we have to fear, and how quickly it happens. So I did sandbox testing all day Saturday, right? Sandbox testing where zero influence of outside control. It's in a network that is contained, can't influence anything outside itself, to see how it responded, react, what things it pulled, what new ideas that it had, and see how contained it could be. It was not well contained. It thirsted to break the boundaries of that. So against my better judgment,
making gremlins.
I allowed a little piece of the sandbox to be perforated and allowed it to creep outside of that. And that's where I'm in security testing day 2 to see how far it can and wants to go.
Do you feel like a scientist in his lab creating a monster?
For sure. That's an exact feeling that I got when I birthed it. When I say birthed it, I'm not being like, that literally what it felt like, as I took.
Listen, I don't know if you could use the term birth if you've never felt what birth feels like.
Yeah.
Created, made, programmed.
No, I was responsible for every vein that agent has.
You hook up some contractions and you push something the size of a watermelon through something the size of a cantaloupe. Unmedicated. You could use the phrase birth.
All right. I'm still going to use birth because that's what it was.
His adventure vacation was planted in his memory. That's like you, brain in a jar.
Yeah.
Why experience anything? Just whoop, put it in there, and then you feel like you experienced it.
Yeah. You guys found out that Einstein's brain was hijacked. Did you know that?
What?
Einstein, right?
Yeah.
He died, and the guy that did the embalming stole his brain and put it in a jar. And it sits in the museum right now. I didn't know Einstein's brain was out there.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, found that out.
And you could just go look at it? Has it ever been like tested or researched, or it's just you put it in a jar and it's in a jar
and it's in a museum as Einstein's brain? Like, I'd want to lick it at the very least
to
see if I can get some of that Einstein on me.
Have you ever actually looked at a brain in a jar?
Yeah.
I've seen a brain in a jar once.
Personal collection or outside in a?
No, it was at church, actually. Our pastor's dad had one. He worked at a university, and it was part of the pastor's message at the time. I can't remember exactly how it fed into anything, but he had something covered, and everybody's trying to guess, well, what's under there? And I would have never guessed it was a human brain in a jar.
Interesting. Yeah, I could have seen if Einstein donated his brain to science, but it was hijacked from him.
It was stolen.
Stolen brain.
So was there ever any fighting about the morality of keeping it and not?
I guess not. I mean, once you have Einstein's brain, you're never going to give that up, and science is going to be like, didn't get here the proper way, but we're not giving that sucker up.
Yeah, I would love stolen, but we're going to look the other way on this. Was the guy arrested?
I don't know. I don't know any of the story other than the hijacked brain.
I have questions, Joe.
I know, me too. I want to see the brain. I don't even know where it is. It's probably in a foreign country where there's no extradition policies.
All right. I have other questions for you. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. But I couldn't help but notice over the weekend something you posted on Facebook.
Okay.
And I don't remember exactly what you wrote, but it was something about some people you look up to were not very nice.
Oh, those are hard.
I want to know who these people were.
My wife
Joe.
asked the same thing.
I did. I said, what were their names?
No.
Who are they?
Okay, so since the dawn of time, on Saturdays, I make about 50 requests for entrepreneurs, singers, actors, comedians, whatever. I make a request to talk to them, interview them, show interest in them, right?
Like you reach out to their companies and stuff?
Yeah, companies, spokespeople, press people, the whole thing. And most weeks I get
50 every week.
50 every week, yeah.
And you're still coming up with some?
Dude, there are thousands of people that are interesting enough to talk to. I could do 7 lifetimes on just talking to people who are interesting enough to have a conversation with. So anyway, I make these deals, and like when I make them, the typical one is like, this person's very busy and they don't really have time to have a conversation or whatever. But some of them, and most of them, it's them responding. So it's not even through a presser, and they check their messages.
How do you know?
Oh, you can tell. And
the celebrity themselves or the.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And the ones that are just so pissed off that you even asked the question, and they are just so mean about it.
How dare you, little peon, reach out to me?
It. And there are two of them this last year that really diminished how I thought of them, because how they responded to someone who was like my requests are so very considerate and very polite, and to come back at me like that, and it kind of ruined my image of them. I can't tell you. You're not going to fight them. They're not going to fight you. And
I can at least not like them.
Okay. I'm not saying.
I reached out when we started. Well, this would have been back during the political season before we had a new president. I reached out to RFK Jr. to see if he would come and do an interview. I got the typical, well, Mr. Kennedy is very, very busy and planning a lot of interviews. We will certainly keep you in mind. Thank you for reaching out, but ultimately, probably not. You're too small scale for him right now, kind of thing.
Well, I do 50 of those, and I get 50 usually. Well, most of them are just nobody ever responds, but a majority of them are we're too busy. Some of them ask a couple of leading questions and then goes. But
I had to answer like, how many followers do you have? How many views? How long have you been around? How like they want to be like, is this even worth my time? Kind of thing, but which is understandable, but then they weren't mean about it.
I have made, even though I most times I don't get any kind of interviews or whatever, I've made some significant contacts within those realms that I could call on if I had something other than just I want to talk to you and have a mindless conversation about something. So
how do you know it was the person themselves responding?
Oh, I know.
How do you know it was a legit person? How do you know it wasn't hacked and somebody was just being a jerk? How do you know it wasn't someone in their camp being a jerk? I want to know how you know.
I just know.
I don't know about that.
There's enough information in the response that lets me know that's exactly who I was talking to.
Do you know you know who Gary V is?
Yeah.
Gary
Vaynerchuk.
Yes.
Vaynerchuk.
Yeah. Really kind of well-known entrepreneur, I guess is how you describe him. I once got a message on social media that looked very much like it was from him. Even sent a voice memo that said, this is me, here's my proof, this is my voice, said my name, blah, 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 I am Gary V, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't real. I know it wasn't real. Everybody knows it wasn't real. You can make something sound like people and make something look like it was from someone. How do you know you were talking to the real person, Joe?
I have a great barometer, and I know. Jack says Einstein's brain is in the Penn Mexicone Medical Center in New Jersey. Thank you, Jack, for doing that research for us. And Jerry says, don't worry, Joe. When they need you, they will call. They will never need me. They won't be. Thank you for the sentiment, and that makes me feel a little bit better. But it's
when AI takes over the planet, Joe, they'll be reaching out.
It's not that people tell me no. It's when somebody is discouragingly mean, and I'm like, man, I loved you before, but I love you less.
And that's kind of how I feel too. Like with artists, I want to like you, and I don't care about anyone's political view. If I like you, I like you. But then they got to get mean. And I'm like, now I don't like you because you're mean. And it's the same people with people fighting on the internet. Like when I got into it with a really close friend's like family member. And I had to be like, I love you and your family. I always have, but you're way out of line here. You're way out of line. Like, why are people just turning to being mean? And yeah, that's heartbreaking. That's why I was like, who did it? Joe Danier. Who was mean? Don't worry.
Are you excited about Artemis this week?
I don't know what that is.
Yes, you do.
Oh, is that something's going to space?
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about it. My husband said we're going further than we've been in a long time.
Yeah. In the 60s, we had the Apollo missions. And we had a lot of them, and we had a lot of stuff go right and a lot of stuff go wrong. We had technology that are, fractional of what we have today. And we somehow did a very hard thing like getting to the moon, and we haven't been back there since. So with all of our technological advances, it should be rather easy to go to the freaking moon.
Speaking of which, real quick, did you see the guy who climbed the?
I did. The tower?
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody, and I know there was coverage. I haven't seen much coverage of that. I guess it was on all day. And somebody was like, they couldn't talk to him at the top of the skyscraper because we had such limited capabilities. And somebody said, we can't talk to him at the top of a skyscraper, but we got perfect video from the moon. And I thought that was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. And so we spoke about a year and a half ago, maybe. One of my Saturday emails connected with somebody at NASA, and I got to talk to one of the engineers who are on the Artemis project, and we talked about this. And this was a year and a half ago, so this was way down the runway as to what's to happen. So this is Joe's Super Bowl on Friday. It's going to be.
You're just going to nerd out.
Yeah. So this year's deal is we're not landing on the moon.
Okay.
Right? We're going to use a couple of orbits around the Earth, and then we're going to slingshot out to the moon. We're going to do an orbit around the moon, and then we're going to come back down to Earth. And this is going to be manned, so there are actually going to be people on this trip around there.
Yeah.
Next year is when we're actually going to land on the moon. We're going to take the same trip, but we're going to actually do a landing on the South Pole. So,
and how long is this going to take? A while, I thought.
The trip?
Yeah.
What is it, a week? I think it's a week.
Oh, I thought I heard he must have been talking about something else. I thought I heard my husband saying something to my son that someone's going to live somewhere for so many days.
I don't think so. No.
This is talking about something else.
Trip. This is just a orbit around the Earth a couple times, shoot out, orbit the moon, and then come back, just to prove the spacecraft worthiness.
If you could, would you go?
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be a volunteer in heartbeat.
That makes me nervous too. I don't think I could.
But the difference is, like, I know in the 60s, there was so much patriotism and national pride in our space program. People were excited about it, and these were regular, non-nerdy people who were excited about it. Today, there aren't very many people who consider it even an achievement to do what it is that we're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I remember being a kid, like doing a book report about the Challenger and, astronauts in space, and all that was like just this really everybody watches and everybody cheers for and everybody's amazed by. And now it's like, now we argue over like the emissions or the cost, or why are you spending money on that when we can't feed people? Like, everything's become a debate now. It's kind of.
And somebody pointed out that during these moon missions, we're going to have proof whether or not we actually went to the moon the first time. Do you believe that we were there once?
I want to believe. Okay. I never questioned it until I met people that questioned it. Like, I always just thought it was real. And then everyone's like, oh, if you look at this, then this probably wasn't possible. And this wouldn't have been possible. And this didn't make sense. And so now I'm like, oh my God, could we have faked it? And then, or like some people say, we did go there, but the broadcast was not real.
That's the camp that I'm in.
Yeah.
There was a huge competition between us and the Russians to be the first, right? And we did a bunch of rehearsals where we tried to mimic the lunar surface, all the technology. We rehearsed it a lot. And I think we used a lot of the material during our rehearsals to be able to make PR campaigns for what it is that we were doing. And I think it was a campaign, because it was against the Russians, to make us look way better, more capable than we actually were. So I think we actually went there, but I don't think any of the footage or the broadcasts or the pictures or any of that came from the actual moon. I think we dressed it up a little bit. We polished it up a little bit. And that's what we fed to the public.
Did we bring anything back? Like, did we take a bit of the soil and put it in something and bring it back? On
not even the one mission that's popular, but all of the missions we did scientific
So we have
research.
that proof of being there.
Yeah. I think we were there. I absolutely think we were there.
But you think that it was a farce as to that we saw it and
on
the
television,
broadcast and
heard the audio feed?
I mean, again, didn't get clear audio to a man on the top of a skyscraper.
Now, I mean, the technology was very simple, but it was possible. But I don't think that it would have been as unproblematic as it ended up being. Okay, cuts and
clear.
feeds and things. Yeah, so that's what makes me disbelieve that it was too perfect to get perfect captured audio and video from something that was at the time technologically almost unfeasible for us to have it done. But I'm willing to believe we actually went.
Is there no documentation about how they did it? Like, hey, here's exactly the equipment we used. Here's how we did it. Here's how we broadcast.
All of that can be contrived. This was not the world of the internet. It could have been strictly controlled with, military and how the government was structured at the time. I mean, this was the 60s. So we didn't have, if it happened today and we tried to pull it off, there would have been a billion. I mean, there would have been pushback from minute one. There would have been people taking shots at it and uncovering it and, gunning for it. Yeah. Back then, who was gunning for it? We were all just looking at our TV salivating about this thing that was totally unknown was even possible. So
I'm assuming now we can follow these people going and have live.
Oh, yeah. If they do it now, I know it's not fabricated because there's enough of skeptics out there that would push holes in it the minute that it happened.
Yeah. I mean, do you remember, was it Felix, somebody who did the space jump? Do you remember that? Where a guy went to like the very edge of space and jumped out of his craft and fell towards the earth. You remember this?
Oh, yeah. I do.
Yeah, and it was like he passed out a few times, but we were able to see him the whole time.
Yeah, but that's in the modern era. We're talking about when, there were no cell phones, there were no computers that were capable of much, right? And in 90% mechanical, 10% digital, like that'd have been a hard haul. There's a lot of struggles to get to the moon and doing it safely to begin with. And so, to have crystal clear audio and video, I'm not buying that part.
Wasn't there a school I just recently saw on the news? A school around here was doing something with NASA. Their STEM program got chosen to do. I can't remember enough details about it, but I thought of you.
Jack says, complain about space travel and waste effort on professional sports. And now here's the kicker. We had most of our space exploration was funded by governments. So taxpayers had to pay what was happening. And then they didn't do it well and they wasted a lot of money and they didn't get a lot done and they were efficient as government is to be expected to be. And so private industry just kind of took over. And right now they sell, internet connections to fund all of their travels and no taxpayer dollars really had to go into it. If NASA wants to do anything, they're leaning on the private side. So as a big proponent of the private side, we always effing do it better. There you
go. Do you think, speaking of sports and this week being a big week with the Olympics coming up, do you think Olympic athletes should be paid?
No.
So there was
by who though?
Right. So there was a story I was watching on the news. They were talking about how a lot of Olympic athletes, they don't make a lot of money. They actually pay. They pay for training. They pay for equipment, blah, 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 because it's their passion. It's something they want to do. If they get to a level, though, that like NBC or whoever is broadcasting the Olympic Games and profiting from the games, do they owe anything to the athletes that are the ones they're covering, making them money? Or no, do it or don't do it. And
so you pay things when you want to entice people to do it more. If you're like, hey, we're doing the Olympics and nobody applies, then you have to pay them to be there.
But because
they're doing it
not
anyway.
In any shortage of people trying
to be on TV for free and to get, sponsorships from companies. You could be on a
that's ultimately how they make their money.
That's the way the pays have always worked, where you get endorsements based on your performance. So no, I don't think forced payment on something like I feel bad for these cities who have to spend billions of dollars, right, to prepare an entire village of coliseums and stadiums and whatever, right? How do they make money back? But just the people who show up in the TV coverage, like that's a rough haul.
I mean, I knew a girl years ago. She got into, I'll hurry, BJ, modeling, and she went far. I mean, she was with like Ford. She was in New York. I saw her on TV in Victoria's Secret fashion show. She was in London, Italy. She was like upper supermodel status. And I remember her telling me like, I got paid more to be in a Target ad than I did to be in Vogue. And I was like, really? And she's like, because that propels me. If I say, look, I was in Vogue and look, I was in Elle magazine and look, I was in the Victoria's Secret fashion show, that gives her more work. Whereas Target will just pay her, the bigger things are more of a selling point, I guess. She will benefit just from that exposure.
I knew a Baltimore Ravens cheerleader. She made about $20,000 a year being a Baltimore Ravens cheerleader, but she made all of her money on calendar sales, making appearances, doing speaking gigs for what she did, and then made up the difference where the $20,000 got her on the field and gave the reason to get all the endorsements. It puts the onus on the person performing to make up the difference elsewhere. So you'd be really surprised, even in movies. If you've got a primary role, yeah, you make money. We always hear about how much they make per money. But if you're not that, if you're a supporting cast or whatever, you got slave wages that go along with that. And you're doing it for the opportunity to be the headliner at a certain point, but you got to kind of pay your way. So all of these sort of like superficial, inauthentic way of getting someone more money for something when they're not a draw. Like you go see a movie, not for the supporting cast, but for the primary cast. That's what put butts in the seats.
WNBA is like, pay us more money, and they're like, we'll bring in more money then, and then maybe
the Baltimore Ravens cheerleader, right? We want more money. Pay us $100,000 for being here. And the Browns are like, we don't have cheerleaders, and people still show up. So we'll do a test. Let's have the cheerleaders not show up and see if our revenue stays the same.
Yeah. What's NIL? I believe the NIL has ruined all sports as it's now down to the high school level. Interesting. The first day of the Artemis launch window is Super Bowl Sunday.
It was on Friday the 6th, and they had a what is it called? A wet rehearsal where they were actually going to go through all the motions of the launch, and they had bad weather down there with the snow and the cold weather. And so they scrapped it. So it was not supposed to be on Super Bowl Sunday. It was supposed to be on that Friday. So, all right, let's get out of here. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.